black, Synan and Werner. This is a pair up.
This is pretty close to my Gonti Brawl deck.
It's not Josuvest, it's Gonti.
Gonti is sweet. You ever Gonti'd somebody? Especially in a singleton format where you're like, oh, you can't ever cast this card. It's pretty nice.
How do you feel about mono black control versus blue white?
I mean, you'll never find me on the mono black side of that matchup. I'll tell you that much. But I'm excited to see how this goes.
Well, Austin's playing all basics too. Starts off on plains into island. All right, and we do see Cabal Stronghold into main deck Argwell's Bloodfast. 2 copies in the main. Austin, yeah, I'd be concerned. Austin just cycles a land. It's going to resolve.
That's one of the better cards in my Brawl deck.
Right, I'd be very worried on Austin's side about this resolving. Now Austin does have a Field of Ruin. He can take care of that.
You can check
Cabal Stronghold.
The first Cabal Stronghold. One thing about the Stronghold being the second land is it feels like Phillips may be long on lands that aren't swamp. So you might not want to Field of Ruin that one.
Right, he's going to activate Bloodfast main phase. His only third land is a Stronghold, and I like this. He drew a Swamp. So I want him to make the Swamp because actually Philip has a second Cabal Stronghold in hand. He's going to Duress. If he made the second Stronghold, I don't think Austin would Field of Ruin him.
This is actually Divest, which is notably much worse than the matchup.
Okay.
It checks for a creature or an artifact, and this is a fistful of neither of those card types.
Negate, Essence Scatter, cast out, land. So that's just a miss. But remember, he did draw an extra card this turn. So
yep. So that's mostly fine.
And this is so good. Austin's going to Field of Ruin him, but Philip has another Stronghold in hand.
Yep. Yeah, I like that sequencing a lot.
The downside of Cabal Stronghold, to be fair, is that for it to produce extra mana, it starts doing it, I believe, at 6 swamps with the Stronghold. But every Stronghold deck's going to play 4 Stronghold, which means when you draw 2 of them, you actually don't start ramping until like 9 mana in play or something ridiculous. So this Austin Field of Ruining Philip here was good for Philip in a big way.
That's why the card's so good in Brawl. You're not allowed to play 2.
You just don't. You just have to have the one. Cast out main phase from Austin. Takes care of that Bloodfast. No more extra cards. Well, for now.
Right.
And, you know, that's fair. If he'd left that, Philip's play this turn might have just been tap 4 mana, draw 2, go.
Right, and that's just very good against Austin's deck.
Right. Plays Cabal Stronghold again. So Cabal Stronghold, 3 and tap, add a mana for each basic swamp you control.
Yeah.
So right now it is net negative
for
him to use it. He'll make Walking Ballista on 2. When he gets another swamp into play, then it is neutral. And when he gets up to 6 lands, that's when he actually starts profiting. He'll have 7.
Right.
5th land from Austin. We knew about these in his hand. It's all basics for him.
And as far as ways to generate card advantage from the mono black control deck, it's just the 2 copies of Bloodfast, one of them already removed, and then he plays 2 copies of Gonti, Lord of Luxury.
This is a neat one, Ryan. There's a Field of Ruin in play for Philip. Austin has 6 basic lands in play.
That can be really unfortunate, especially when you control a Cabal Stronghold.
Yeah, 4 mana. End step, Philip will put another counter on Walking Ballista. Just going to keep doing that for a while. There's 6 mana on Austin's side, but you don't have to worry too much about Torrential Gearhulk. Austin's graveyard is 2 lands. Sure, he could flash a 5/6 blocker into play, but that's not too much. We know Austin's hand is 2 Essence Scatters and a Negate. Philip will pass back to him. Misses land number 6. Does the mono black deck.
Things keep going this way, though. Austin keeps taking these chip shots, and eventually these Walking Ballistas become a really serious problem. I like the way that Philip's just not casting anything into these counter spells he knows about. Able to just use his mana on the Ballista, keep making that a little bit more of a problem.
Yeah. Glacial Fortress from Collins. He has Teferi. Seems like something you want to pick up. Now, if I'm on Austin's side, I kind of would assume that Philip was going to be able to deal with Teferi, but I guess Austin can hold up Negate.
If you -3 on the Ballista, it's already a problem. And if you just plus, the Ballista can come before attack and then just remove 1 counter.
Yeah.
Teferi not really safe against the battlefield itself.
This Walking Ballista in play is just good.
This card is consistently impressive.
And you know, when Philip has 7 lands in play, he can put 2 counters on it. He doesn't need 8 lands, just 7 will work.
Yeah, now
How
Austin
good.
has committed Glacial Fortress, which means the Field of Ruin can turn into a swamp. It won't be able to do it just yet on the same turn where you add a counter to the Ballista, which is a problem.
Right, so he might wait until he has one more land.
Right.
And that's true. End step, Philip will just make the Ballista into a 4/4. Austin says, yeah, that happens. And there's the swamp from Philip. Puts it into play. 6 lands. So now you're right. He can Field of Ruin and make a Ballista counter. He hits Austin down to 11.
Now things are getting scary.
Yeah, I mean, Ballista might just be lethal. Austin needs removal. He draws a second Teferi. That's, I mean, you can use Teferi to -3 Ballista. I don't like it.
You're almost priced into it at this point.
So here is Teferi from Austin. And he will, yeah, -3 on Walking Ballista.
So imagine the response will be, in response, Field of Ruin and pump the Ballista.
Shoots Teferi down. And actually just deals 3 upstairs to Austin.
Okay, Philip leaving a point on the table unless he does something else on the end steps.
Yeah, Field of Ruin's the Glacial Fortress.
On the deck list, though, it's mostly Vraska's Contempts, Fatal Push. Those are the instant speed actions. So it does look like he misses a point. We'll find out if that matters. This is not really a deck that you beat by inches.
And he knows there's an Essence Scatter in Austin's hand. So you see right now Philip is untapping with 8 mana. But we'll see how he wants to spend it. He has 1 more Walking Ballista in hand.
In the main deck, the discard spells are just Divest, which are not great. 3 Duress are in the sideboard.
Another swamp for Philip. And we see a tap. Here's our first, our first Cabal Stronghold activation of the tournament. Here's Gifted Aetherborn. So for the 4 mana he taps there, he gets 6. So he's floating 4, casts Gifted Aetherborn. Austin says that resolves.
Yeah, that one, not a very inviting one to counter.
He wants the Walking Ballista to resolve.
Right.
That's not happening just yet.
And Philip's kind of baiting, and part of the problem is he has at least a Fatal Push in the hand, so there's not much he can do.
Yeah, Ballista for 3. Austin says, I'll Essence Scatter that. We go back over to Collins. Yeah, Philip's remaining cards in hand. 2 Vraska's Contempts and a Fatal Push. Austin just says go. All right, I do think we're just biding time. If Philip finds one of his 2 copies of Josu Vess, I don't know what Austin does about that one.
I would recommend countering it.
How does Kicker work? It counters the whole thing, right? We see here Gifted Aetherborn swings to put Austin down to 6. Philip tried for Gonti, one of his 2 main deck copies. Austin had another Essence Scatter at the ready.
Austin also on 2 main deck copies of Fumigate, which makes cleaning up most battlefields pretty easily.
Good draw from Austin is Glimmer of Genius. And this is an interesting thing, I think, in the matchup when we start getting to this late game, figuring out who's actually favored.
Yeah, so Austin can go pretty low, save for just a small number of cards in Philip's deck. You need to fight over all of them once you get to this point. There's more Walking Ballista and also those Torment of Hailfires.
Down to 4 goes Austin. For the record, in our other 2 matches have been split. Samir Black wins in Legacy, and Ben Ragan wins in Modern, so game 1's there. Here's an attempt at a lethal from Philip. Taps Cabal Stronghold for 6. He's got a Walking Ballista. He may just go for the full lethal here. Yeah, let's just make it 8. See if this wins. 8 mana Walking Ballista. Do I win?
Unlikely. Worth a shot.
Well, let's see. What do we have in Austin's deck? He's already used 2 Essence Scatters. He has 1 more Essence Scatter.
Fully 4
disallows and a Glimmer of Genius. Yeah, this probably isn't working.
Yeah. Has that Torrential Gearhulk in hand.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, both players know about the Gearhulk. Yeah, this is going to get Gearhulked. Austin's going to try for more. He's going to Glimmer here. If he misses completely,
He might already have disallow.
Okay, if he already, so this is just free.
Yeah.
Yeah, he scries both to the top and he uses his last Essence Scatter on the Ballista. Both top and draw does not bode well for Philip.
Yeah, you don't like seeing that.
You're right. I'm getting to the point, though a mono black control is good at board control, I think once you start getting to turn 10, this goes the way of blue-white.
Yeah, with the Arguel's Bloodfast answered by that cast out, blue having the ability to draw extra cards, it just gets a little bit more out of reach every turn. Philip has those small sampling of haymakers, but Austin's drawing extra turns, and disallow covers any of them once he can produce some copies of that. Now, you do have to get this gifted Aetherborn off the table. There's a few ways to do that. There's 3 Stealaways in Austin's main deck.
You know, at some point, he can even just put Gearhulk into play, getting back Glimmer, and block.
Yeah.
It's not pretty, but
that's
just
totally
far enough
fine.
ahead, it's fine.
Now, the mana is a little light for a play like that. Austin only has available to 7, and he wants to make sure he can copy anything like yet another Walking Ballista, or maybe he has determined that Philip is on Torment of Hailfire, which there are 2 copies in the deck. Once you see a Cabal Stronghold, I imagine that you would.
Settle the Wreckage was cast to take care of the gifted Aetherborn. Just making more mana for that Cabal Stronghold.
It will 4 mana Path to Exile.
There's nothing on a cast trigger, nothing that Disallow can't take care of that Philip ramps into. His big.
Yeah. This would be really concerning if there were still Eldrazi in the format, but there's just not.
Yeah, those Josu Ves's kicker is not a cast trigger, so. And actually, Field of Ruin picked up now by Austin. He can field away that Stronghold.
At this point, Philip has so much mana and so light on cards in hand, but you may as well. It's likely the only non-basic you're facing down, right? Also,
yeah, I think it's opportunity cost.
Yeah, Austin also wouldn't mind more blue mana. Only 3 islands on the battlefield so far. Plenty of islands left in the deck.
13 basics in Austin's deck. He'll just trade draw steps here. You see Austin playing this very conservatively. He has another Teferi in his hand, but just not feeling the need to do it just yet. Looks like we're going to see an end-step Torrential Gearhulk from Austin, likely on a Glimmer of Genius.
Oh, these are just the best Gearhulks.
Yeah. Philip makes 7 black mana. He's going to Vraska's Contempt it. But this is just, when you start Doomblading your opponent's Mull Drifters, it feels like it doesn't matter. And it actually has a different removal spell.
Cast down. Destroy a non-legendary creature. And 5 mana floating.
Ready for that Vraska's Contempt in case Austin does something else.
Right.
Philip's not shy on mana here.
No.
But it's just not, that's not what this game's about.
Doesn't even need to be activating the Stronghold here, but you put the fear in Austin.
And post-board, Philip is, what's happening here is that he's just loading up on removal spells. His hand just Vraska's Contempt, Cast Downs, Fatal Push. That's not going to happen in Game 2.
Yeah, things will be changing. Has a few more high-impact cards, and of course those Duresses will be a lot better than the Divests.
Yes.
Now it's just a matter of Austin figuring out a way to actually close the game. Now that he's made this many land drops, things get a lot easier as you can start to leave up counter spells once you produce a threat. Dreadshade for Philip.
Right, Dreadshade. So we have another one from Dominaria here. At this point, it'd be surprising if Philip can resolve anything.
Right.
But if he does, Dreadshade's incredible. It'll certainly is lethal.
It is overwhelmingly lethal.
What I thought the most impressive thing here was, Ryan, what Stronghold did in the face of this counterspells was how it interacts with an on-board Cabal Stronghold. Because at that point, Austin, if you just sit back, you don't attack, so that there's no fear of tapping it, no seal away. You just sit back with the Ballista and just keep putting counters on it. That can be really scary for the blue-white deck.
Yes.
But yeah, lets it resolve, and Austin will use Cast Out. This is all an end step, untaps. continues to go to work, keeps the board cleaned, and at some point here he's going to make Teferi, and it looks like that point is now.
Lot of mana at the ready.
Yeah, he can do this whenever he wants.
If he's low on counter spells and maybe he has another Glimmer or a Gearhulk, that is certainly reason enough to just hang out.
If he has ways to draw more than one per turn, then might as well wait.
Yeah.
Another divest from Philip.
Might have to Gearhulk in response if that is available. Don't really want to discard that one. This tap for 6 would leave him with just 4 mana available. The concern here is that if you Gear Hulk, instead of leaving up 2 counter spells, maybe he has Disallow plus another counter, or even 2 Disallows. Theoretically, you could lose the game by making this play. Though Philip is so light on cards, and his play patterns seem to suggest that he's kind of shoving on every turn, which makes it feel like he's not loaded up with multiple lethal spells.
Torrential Gearhulk here. Casting Glimmer for Austin. Gearhulk would have been taken with the divest, so Austin will just cast it. Both top draws both. Shows hand.
Here are spells and lands again.
2 more Disallows, a Negate, a Teferi, a Commit to Memory. These are all just universal answers. I don't see Philip getting through it. He's writing him down. It looks like he wants to try.
That is a lot to slog through.
Yeah, I mean, with this much hard counters magic, the Teferi should actually close this out rather quickly.
Yeah, the Gearhulk as well.
Yeah.
That one, I suppose at this point there's a reasonable chance that Philip has a removal spell for it.
Yeah, he's in the cast of Vraska's Contempt, and Austin will probably not fight over it.
Yeah. And no really compelling reason to. There are 4 Gearhulks in Austin's deck, and he still has that Teferi.
Swings for 5. Philip down to 17. Austin now dealing the damage. And Austin's just going to say go. Philip makes a bunch of mana. Wants to fire off many Vraska's Contempts if possible. All right, he'll Contempt the Gearhulk. Austin will probably just let it resolve.
Yeah. You can fight over it. Really not a big deal either way.
Looks like he might. I mean, at this point, Austin is in straight-up not caring territory. He hasn't even Field of Ruin to that Cabal Stronghold yet.
Right.
It's like, yeah, whatever, man. You do your thing.
You can have 100 black mana. What could you
there you go.
possibly do?
Gearhulk's gone. I have Negate, Disallow, but, you know, it's gone.
I'm not trying to win now. I'll win on my own time.
That was an example of it was. I'm having fun this game. I don't want it to end.
Right. I sure hope my opponent doesn't concede, because I am really enjoying this back and forth.
Field of Ruin now is shot off on that Cabal Stronghold, so Philip down to just swamps. Until he finds another Stronghold. But as we mentioned, there's no uncounterable big mana card in Standard.
Yeah, that cast out on the Bloodfast, that was extremely detrimental. Yeah. Philip could have potentially drawn, 10 extra cards if that hung around.
Exactly. Gifted Aetherborn. He's got Austin to 4. You just think, man, we're so close. But you see all these Disallows. You got to look at the hand. None of this is going to work. I'm going to do cycle a land. I do want to see this matchup in post-sideboard, so I hope we get to it.
Right. This game 1 might conclude at some point.
Commit to memory, the Aetherborn. Philip's got to decide how much. Come on. You got to decide how much of this you want to do. You've seen his hand.
Right.
Oh, he's going to mill him for 4 with Ipnu Rivulet. Okay. I like this win condition from Austin if he has just the 1 Rivulet. Okay.
So milling over the Aetherborn, not huge. This did hit a Walking Ballista.
That was the last Walking Ballista in Philip's deck, too.
It's not ideal for Philip.
There's still just so many disallows in Austin's hand. Nothing's resolving.
Yeah, well,
ever.
Now there's fewer things to actually get a disallow.
Yeah, I mean, he has more disallows than cards he needs to disallow.
Yeah.
And we're going to see Search for Escanta.
Austin's just
styling here.
He is not interested in actually closing this game.
I like this. This is how I play these decks. People are like, why? I've done this in team. I was like, why aren't you winning? I'm like, why would I want to do that? This is great.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
I'm having way too much fun.
Don't rush it.
All right, transforms it into Escanta. Now we can see the nice plays of untapping Escantas with Teferis.
Well, he would have to actually ever cast a
You don't
fairy.
need to cast it, though. That's the nice part. That seems a little aggressive.
Right.
All right, okay, he's gonna try to win. Here's Teferi.
Yeah, tap those planes. Those are the bad lands.
No one likes basic planes.
Yeah. Among
Here's
the
5.
worst lands in Magic.
Teferi, draw a card and untap 2. You know, this is only a second Teferi. When Philip goes for Vraska's Contempt, is Austin just going to let it resolve? Contempt. Oh, he's just going to let it resolve. Okay, I'll spend a negate.
So his hand is like full of good cards already, and Teferi draws extra cards.
There's another one.
So it's kind of worth fighting. Now the second one I might let resolve.
All right. Ooh, okay, I like that. Blink of an eye, the Teferi.
Okay.
No kicker to draw a card. He wants to make sure he has 2 disallows up on his opponent's turn.
Yeah.
That's correct.
I like that line.
All right, we have Josu.
No kicker. This
Josu
is a 4/5
Lich Knight.
menace.
Says go. Austin's going to activate the Escanta. Oh, it's another Teferi.
Probably
the last one.
Teferi down your Josu Vest. Maybe not.
He'll
Whatever.
take Fumigate.
Maybe I'll sweep you. Maybe I won't.
It doesn't matter. None of this matters.
Right.
What is? I love it when blue-white games get to this point. You're just like, nothing's relevant.
We're actually getting to the
Nothing
point
matters.
where Philip should be concerned about being able
clock.
to win 2 games.
None of this matters.
He's got to be just functionally at 0.
Here's Teferi again. We can do this all day.
He's not even killing the Josu with the Teferi. He's just drawing a card.
Ooh, I gotta get 2 more lands untapped. Never know when you need those. In the meantime, Austin's teammate Ben Ragan has already finished an entire match of Modern. 2-0 with Affinity. He's your winner. Ooh, a discard spell. Divest. Ooh, disallow, fumigate.
Seal away for your Josu.
No, so how about not seal away for your Josu? I hope Josu attacks Teferi and Austin just is like, oh, Josu attacks,
It's lethal
okay,
at
it's lethal.
Austin.
I wish it wasn't, because then I'd just take the damage. Just be like, I'm taunting you. Look at me go to 1.
Yeah.
You're right. Josu's probably at least going to get, he'll spend a removal spell on it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Like Fumigate.
It's too bad there's not more game actions that Austin can commit in garbage time.
Yeah.
The most bad Modern play you can make is just casting Memory.
So you know the old Sphinx's Revelation deck where you only had Elixir, which is kind of like this?
Yeah.
So one of my things I used to like to do in game 1 in this situation when I was Austin. So say I had like a Jace or a way to win, I wouldn't cast it, and I'd just keep doing this and sitting here, and then I'd Elixir myself and just keep doing it and doing nothing and nothing. And the game was I wanted to see I want to see my opponent's tolerance level. Like, when do you concede?
Okay.
I'm never going to win.
So Austin just countered his cards in library, and it's not because he's concerned about running out. He's not going to run out.
He has commit to memory.
It's so that he knows how much time he can waste in this
There
game.
we go. There we go. Philip has had enough.
You can concede whatever you want. Finally figures it out.
I had someone go all the way to turns when I was doing this thing with the elixir. They took it all the way to 0, and I'd like reshuffled twice. All the way to 0, and then like the moment that hits, I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, Elspeth. Like the moment. All right, so Austin Collins gets a game win. Also, Rio Trevathan sends the legacy match to 3. So we'll be back with analysis of the sideboards, especially that of mono black control, in just a minute. Look over in sideboarding here, Ben Ragan and Austin Collins discussing the board plan for blue-white control. It's going to be a harder one here, Ryan, because let's look at Philip's sideboard first. He was stuck with a lot of removal. He's a big mana deck, but actually in terms of card advantage, he is not in the same league as Austin here.
Correct, yeah. For the sideboard, we have 3 Golden Demise, 3 Duress, 2 Scavenger Grounds, 2 Demon Lord, Bells and Lock, 2 Liliana Death's Majesty, 2 Doomfall, and a Sentinel Totem. So a lot of this plays here. Duress is great. Huge upgrade to those Divests that were just horrendous in Game 1.
There's a lot of stuff to cut.
Yeah, Demon Lord Bells and Lock is actually pretty good. Sometimes it even draws multiple cards.
So this, if you don't know this one, this is Mythograph from the set. You draw a non-land card, and if that card was an expensive one, you get more.
Yeah, if it costs at least 4, you do it again. A couple Liliana Death's Majesties, sure, it's a Planeswalker. It makes creatures. That one's fine. Doomfall, another discard spell. That one makes sense. You could go for Scavenger Grounds because of Torrential Gearhulk. It's not great. It's not good with your Cabal Stronghold, but it's not the worst card available.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to justify boarding in lands that aren't swamps because of Cabal Stronghold. Now, on Austin Collins' side, he's got these 3 Lyra Dawnbringers, 3 Forsake the Worldly, 3 Negate, 2 Karn, the last Seal Away, an Ixal's Binding, a Jace's Defeat, and a Cast Out. He can switch up his removal, but it's not clear which direction he even wants to go.
Yeah, Walking Ballista was kind of the biggest problem in Game 1. Negate's good against some of the stuff. It's only okay. I don't hate Forsake the Worldly in some small number, especially because it cycles, but it can deal with Argua's Bloodfast. That's a nice one to have access to. And Karn Scion of Urza in any kind of grindy matchup, that card is just excellent.
Yeah, Philip's likely going to have to keep in those Vraska's contempts.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes they can tempt your Karn, but that's a 2-for-1.
Yeah. Yeah, it's card economy. Phil is going to be on 6 for game number 2.
At most.
At most, yeah, he's going to 5.
And this is not a matchup where you can really afford to mulligan like this.
Yeah, Argo's Bloodfast can help. And I mean, I think Philip even knew that game 1. He played a turn 2 Bloodfast, and then immediately started drawing cards off it. It did get cast out on turn 4, and that could bring him back here for the second game. But outside of Bloodfast, he does not have too many things that get him extra cards.
Right.
I'm actually a little interested. I'm thinking about Mono Black Control, Ryan. I would be interested almost in a card like Thematic Compass in this deck. Something just some card advantage, you know, power up your strongholds.
It's very good in my Brawl deck.
Okay.
But yeah, hitting those land drops, just having free access to extra cards, just more things that can generate card advantage. And also the Maze Abyss on the backside, pretty good in a number of matchups.
So we do have a turn 2 Arguel's Bloodfast on the mulligan to 5 for Philip. It snuck under counter spells, and that should help him undo the damage that this mulligan did. I would like to, on Philip's side, see him just activate Bloodfast repeatedly until Austin does something about it.
Yes. Yeah, no real compelling reason to commit other game actions.
Yeah, he has Doomfall in hand, and it looks like they're thinking about Doomfalling instead of Bloodfasting this turn. I can see it. We'll go for that play. Here's Doomfall.
There's not really anything on turn 3 I'm concerned about.
Yeah, mana-wise, it's better. So let's look at the hand. We have 4 more lands, Essence Scatter, Torrential Gearhulk, and Ixalan's Binding. So we'll take the Ixalan's Binding as that answers the Bloodfast.
Yeah, the Binding is a good one to cover because not only does it deal with the on-the-board Bloodfast, but would hit the other one in the deck.
Yeah, so it takes that. But Philip now, it looks like 2 cards in hand as we go back over to him. Like I said, I'd like to see him go for the Bloodfast. He goes to 18, draws. Does he hit a land? He does not.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, that would have been big.
Like to have drawn 2 cards. Also, keeping up on mana is going to be important in this matchup.
Big check now. Does Austin have an Ixalan's Binding or a cast out? He does not. Plays the Field of Ruin. Back over to Philip. Draws again. It was Walking Ballista. He's still looking for land 4. Goes to 16. Does he hit it? He does. It's Stronghold at that.
That is a fine draw.
He'll pass. Austin is going to Cabal Stronghold him, so Philip will draw another card. Go to 14. It's another Swamp, and then he'll go get a Swamp out of his deck. So Bloodfast has drawn him 3 cards now. Looks like that has undone the entire mulligan.
Yep. And he'll be able to draw a good amount more. At some point, you're concerned about this damage in the face of this Torrential Gearhulk.
Yeah, do we have any way? A lot of times mono black decks have large drain effects, ways to gain their life back, but I don't actually know that this one does.
Yeah, the effect you kind of have for that is these 4 copies of Gifted Aetherborn, but that is not shown up to battle.
Land 5 from Austin, and he passes. Got to assume some hard counter spells in Austin's hand. And now, with a full grip, Philip has to decide how many more extra cards he wants to draw versus starting to attrition away at Austin's hand.
When you have a full hand, you kind of want to be jamming, but you'd like to be casting a spell that lets you leave up a Bloodfast activation. If you could cast an Aetherborn on this turn, that would be excellent.
So we'll start with Duress. I love starting the turn that way, especially because it's an odd number of mana this turn.
Looks like the follow-up could be a Walking Ballista. He has one of those in the holdings.
And Austin will negate the Duress.
That makes sense. That's usually what you do.
And with 4 mana, Philip's going to pass. Looks like 2 Bloodfasts up. Could have made Ballista, just decided not to.
Yeah, just activating Bloodfast is so good. You have to have a reason not to.
Teferi, possible play from Austin. That's what he's going to do. Casts the Planeswalker. Plus it to draw a card. He'll untap into disallow mana. See with the trigger on. Yeah, Philip's just going to go ahead and Vraska's Contempt that right away. He's back up to 16, but Austin will get the card and the mana, so it's just fine.
That 2 life is another Bloodfast card for Philip as well. That's worth noting.
I was talking with the Jessups about it yesterday. They say, you know, Teferi's not a 5-mana Planeswalker. It's a 3-mana Planeswalker you cast on turn 5.
Yeah.
Here's Liliana Death's Majesty from Philip, and does this resolve?
It's looking like it.
Whoa. I did not think... The way Austin played that last turn, honestly, it felt like he had a disallow. Something he was untapping into. But this is great. Mills for 2, gets a zombie, and getting Liliana on the board is a pretty big win for Austin.
Yeah, starting to make a stream of zombies is really powerful. There's not really much in the way of heavy hitters you can bring back with Liliana, but making a zombie every turn is very powerful.
We're going to see Search for Azcanta from Austin. That's fine. And he'll say go. Liliana going to get to stay. Only 3 cards in the graveyard also for Search. Austin is behind. And so Liliana, we have blank a 2/2 and put the mill self for 2. The other abilities don't actually matter here. The ultimate doesn't do anything in this matchup.
Yeah.
He will play a 7th land, attacks with the zombie. Make that a 6th land. Liliana is going to -3. Let's see what's in the graveyard.
He just milled over a Dreadshade last turn.
Sure, let's put that into play.
And that's a good way to use your mana if you're not casting spells. That speeds up the clock a lot more than a 2/2 zombie.
Yeah, like we saw Walking Ballista again. It's another way he can spend mana on things that can't be countered. And he's got Austin down to... We took a hit. Austin's not a 20. 4 mana here from Austin. He's going to cast out the Liliana.
That's rough because you have to leave the Bloodfast behind.
Yeah. But you see there, Rio Winslow Trevathan wins the Legacy match, and with it, that's going to stop this game where it is. It looked, Ryan, a lot of power out of Mono Black, especially in that sideboarded game. It looked like I thought Philip was going to take it.
Despite the mulligan to 5, things were look very good for him. I wouldn't be surprised